Praise God. And it's been a rough weekend for me. My wife was out of town again with Kaylee on volleyball. So I've been a single parent again this weekend. I think she does this stuff on purpose. Praise God. Right? If I ever thought about leaving, she just went ahead and let me have a weekend to myself, and I recognize I can't make it without her. Amen. Now, y'all said amen a little too loud over here on the right. I appreciate that. Hallelujah. Praise God. Amen. Luke chapter number 24. Luke chapter number 24. Praise God. So glad for you all being in the house of God today. I saw a couple of posts on yesterday had me laughing. It said, act like it's Easter and come back to church this week. Amen. So thank God for y'all acting like it's Easter. Y'all back in the house today. Amen. Luke chapter number 24. Luke chapter number 24. Just to set the scene here. This is after Jesus has been crucified. This is after Jesus has risen from the dead. But Jesus' disciples have not yet seen him. Right? So Jesus has died. He's been buried. He's resurrected. But his disciples have not seen him. They just heard potentially that he may be resurrected again. And now we're about to be immersed into a conversation between two of Jesus' disciples. Picking up reading in verse number 13, and the Bible said, "And behold, two of them went the same day to a village called Emmaus, which was from Jerusalem about 80 furlongs. And they talked together of all the things which had happened," speaking of Jesus' crucifixion, his burial, etc. Verse 15, "And it came to pass that while they communed together in reason, Jesus himself drew near and went with them. But their eyes were holden or restrained or was distorted, that they should not know him. And he said unto them, What manner of communications are these that ye have one to another as ye walk and are sad? And the one of them, whose name was Cleophas, answered and said unto him, Art thou only a stranger in Jerusalem, and hast not thou known the things which are come to pass there in these days? And he said unto them, What things? And they said unto him concerning Jesus of Nazareth, which was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, and how the chief priests and our rulers delivered him to be condemned to death, and have crucified him. But we trusted that it had been he which should have redeemed Israel. And beside all this, today is the third day since these things were done. Yea, and certain women also of our company made us astonished, which were early at the sepulchre. And they found not his body. They came saying that they had also seen a vision of angels, which said that he was alive." Verse 25, "And he said unto them, O fools, and slow of heart to believe, all the prophets have spoken. Ought not Christ to have suffered these things, and to enter into his glory? And beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded unto them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself. And they drew nigh unto the village whither they went, and he made as though he would have gone further. But they constrained him, saying, Abide with us, for it is toward the evening, and the day is far spent. And he went in tarrying with them. And it came to pass, as he sat at meat with them, he took the bread and blessed it, and brake it, and gave it unto them. And their eyes were open, and they knew him, and he vanished out of their sight." I just want to draw your attention here to two particular verses. I want to take you back to verse number 16. And the Bible said, "And their eyes were holden, that they should not know him." Their eyes were holden or restrained, or when they looked at Jesus, they didn't recognize Jesus, or they didn't know Jesus. Then I want to jump back now to verse number 31 that says, "And their eyes were open, and they knew him, and he vanished out of their sight." Family, for just a few moments this morning, I want to minister to you just for a few moments. I promise I'm not going to be before you long. Just for a few moments, I want to minister to you from a message titled, "My Eyes Are Wide Open." My eyes are wide open. I want you to touch your neighbor and say, neighbor, you got to stay woke. Father, in Jesus' name, we come before your presence. and to declare your sacred word. Father, I pray for an anointing that makes preaching easy and hearing your word a sweet delight. Father, I pray that the words that I speak will not be mine, but that they will be yours, and I pray that you'll be glorified, that your people will be edified, and that the enemy will be terrified. Father, we give you praise in advance for the things you're going to say and do. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Let every believing saint say amen. 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 And amen. You gotta stay woke. While the true origin of the slang term stay woke is unclear, many say it first made its way into major print in 1962 in an article in the New York Times Magazine. The article showed some young white men who were appropriating black culture from the African-American novelist William Melvin Kelly, entitled, "If You're Woke, You Dig It." The expression continued to bubble to the cultural surface over the next 50 plus years. In 1972, there was a play called Garvey Lives, and in that particular play, the author writes, "I've been sleeping all my life, and now that Mr. Garvey done woke me up, I'm gonna stay woke." In 2008, recording artist Miss Erykah Badu used the frame in her song, Master Teachers. And then in 2014, upon the untimely and unjust death of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, the hashtag Stay Woke literally became a social media firestorm. If you were to go on to Instagram right now and you were to put in the hashtag Stay Woke, you will find that that hashtag has been used over 2.3 million times. Somebody look at your neighbor and say, you gotta stay woke. What the proponents of this term suggest is they suggest that the media can be reporting on a thing, but they may not be telling you the complete story. What it suggests is that they piecemeal out to you pieces of the story. They don't give you the full view. What they want you to do is they want to give you what's called primers. They want to give you just pieces of the story because they want to frame your perception of a particular thing. What these people who are proponents for this term stay woke, what they want you to do is they want you to raise your level of consciousness as it relates to the issues that are going on around you, because there simply could be more to the story than meets the eye. Now, typically when somebody uses that term stay woke, what they're referring to is they're referring to social injustice or the issues and the welfare of the African-American community and people. But family, what I would suggest to you on this beautiful Sunday morning is I would suggest to you that this concept of staying woke is equally important for us as it pertains to our faith as followers in Jesus Christ. What I would suggest to you is I would suggest to you that in many instances, your circumstances or the story that you see in the midst of your circumstances could not be the complete story, and God may be doing something that you are not quite yet aware of, and when you're looking at your situation, what you have to be conscious of doing is you have to be conscious of staying woke. Right? God could be up to something, but when you look at your circumstances, all you see is despair and struggle and tragedy, and God could actually be working something that you can't see, so there could be more to the story than what you are currently perceiving. Somebody touch your neighbor and say, you gotta stay woke. Like for example, you may have been laid off of your job, right? And when you get laid off your job, that may appear to be a great tragedy. You may find yourself depressed and in despair, but potentially when God allowed them to lay you off, what God was really doing is God was really pushing you into your destiny and pushing you into an open door that He has set up for your life. Somebody say, stay woke. Right, you could have had somebody who walked out of your life. And when they walked out of your life, you know what? You were standing up, you was crying, you was in despair, you couldn't believe that they did you like that. But just maybe, Elder Kim, just maybe God allowed them to walk out of your life so He can make room for who He wants to bring. Oh, come on somebody, come on now. Sometimes there could be more to the story right, than what the enemy wants you to see. There could be more to the story than what your natural eye can see. There may be more to the story than what your circumstances and your situations are telling you. And what you have to do as a believer in Jesus Christ is you got to raise your level of consciousness, or you got to raise your level of revelation, because the Bible said eyes have not seen, nor ears heard, nor entered into the heart of man what God has in store for those who love him. Right. You got to allow yourself by faith to look beyond what your eyes can see. You got to look at your circumstances and your situation with eyes of faith. Right? It may look bad. It may look crazy. It may look like despair. But just maybe, there's more to the story. As we look here at Luke chapter number 24, I'm already on my way home. As we look at Luke chapter number 24 here, the Bible introduces us to what I would call two defeated disciples. Somebody say defeated disciples. I wonder how many of us in the house of God this morning fall into that category. Yes, we are disciples. Yes, we are believers in Jesus Christ, but there is certain areas, certain elements, and certain portions of your life where you are simply defeated. You're a disciple of Christ, but the reality is you're defeated in your prayer life, right? You try to pray, and you know what? It's hard for me to muster up 90 seconds. I run out of words after about 30 to 60, praise God, right? I'm a disciple, but I'm defeated. You may be defeated in your finances. Yes, you're showing up to church, you're praising God, you're clapping your hands, you have all the church lingo down, you've got all the routines together, but if we were to look at your bank account, come on, somebody. Praise God. You're a disciple, but you're defeated. Right? You may be somebody, my God, you may be somebody who you just left the doctor this week and they placed a diagnosis over your life and they were telling you that you're critically ill, and you know what? There is no hope for you. You're a disciple, but in your body you're defeated. It could be in your marriage. It could be with your children. It could be on your job. It could be with your business. It could be with your ministry. It is possible for you to be a disciple and still yet be walking defeated. These two disciples in Luke chapter number 24, Brother Eric, they were disciples, but they were defeated. They were defeated because they had just been dealt a body blow to their faith. Right? I don't know if anybody ever been in a fight before. It's one thing for somebody to tap you in your chin. It's one thing for somebody to tap you upside your head, but it's something different when somebody hit you in your body. Right? What does it do? Anybody ever been a boxer in here? Praise God. Ted raised his hand. Now the brother on the second row, he just baptized a young man, and he's still in church line. Praise God. If you ever seen somebody get into a fight, when you get hit in your stomach, it will literally, if your abs ain't right, and mine are not, praise God, right? If your abs ain't right, it'll literally bring you down to your knees. Right? These men had been dealt a body blow to their faith because just 3 days earlier, Elder Frank, they had just witnessed their Lord, their King, and their Messiah be tortured and be crucified on the cross of Calvary. Not only was he tortured and not only was he crucified, but the Bible tells us, Sister Desiree, that they took him off the cross and they buried him in a tomb. And when they buried Jesus, literally all their hopes and all their dreams were buried with him. And I wonder how many of us in the house of God this morning have some dreams and have some visions that have literally been buried. Right? You saw what God wanted to happen, and it didn't turn out the way you thought it was supposed to turn out, and now your dream is just simply buried. Right? You know God placed inside of you a desire to start your own business, but because you couldn't get approval for the loan, or because your money wasn't quite right, or because you couldn't get somebody else to buy into the business plan, now all of a sudden you've allowed that dream to be buried. Right? Some of you, my God, you used to think you were going to get married. You used to think you was going to find the right woman, find the right man, but you know what? You've just given up on that. Right? Now you just settle for whatever comes your direction, because you know what? Ain't no good men out there. Ain't no good women out there. Right? You've allowed your dreams to be buried. These men, because of what they had experienced and what they had witnessed, over the past 3 days, they literally found themselves in a place where their faith was fragile. They watched their Savior suffer, bleed, and die. And then on top of that, they took him off the cross and they buried him. The Bible says in the midst of this time of crisis, this is comforting to me. The Bible says in the midst of this crisis, in verse number 15, the Bible said, and it came to pass that while they communed together in reason, watch this, Jesus himself drew near. You see that? Jesus himself, Sister Drury, he drew near. That's powerful to me because these men are in the midst of a crisis. Somebody say crisis. And while they're walking in the midst of their crisis, Jesus comes close. And the thing I love about Jesus is Jesus aren't like people. Right? People, what happened is when things are going well and you're experiencing success and blessings and favors upon your life, people will draw close. Right? But as soon as all hell begins to break loose, you will look up and say, where's that person that said that they was my friend, said they would never leave me nor forsake me, said that they would be with her always. You get looking around and they didn't got ghost. Praise God. Since Pastor Rick wants to use slang terminology today. Praise God. So look at this. These men are walking, dealing with crisis, and in the midst of their crisis, Jesus comes close. Wow, I'm telling you, that's my testimony. Because you know what? It may look like I ain't been through a storm, but I'm like the 3 Hebrew boys. I've been in the fiery furnace. The enemy turned it up 7 times hotter. But you know what? Because Christ came close in the midst of my crisis, I came out, my God, I don't even smell like smoke. Right? I watched my father take his last breath. But you know what? I was able to stand strong. You know why? Because Christ came close in the midst of my crisis. I watched my mother take her last breath. But you know how I was able to keep standing? Because Christ came close in the midst of my crisis. I watched my mother-in-law take her last breath. But you know what, Doc? I was able to stand. You know why? Because Christ came close in the midst of my crisis. I watched my wife have a miscarriage, but you know what? We was able to stand. You know why? Because Christ came close in the midst of my crisis. Watch, I saw my daughter go blind in one eye, but you know what? I didn't fret. You know why? Because Christ came close in the midst of my crisis. Family, I want you to understand, I don't care what you're going through. I don't care what the enemy is trying to do to you. I don't care whether it be hell or high water. I don't care whether it be tragedy. I don't care if it's turmoil. Whatever crisis you may find yourself going through, I want you to understand that we serve a God that will draw close in the midst of your crisis. Do I have any witnesses in the house today that can testify? You really don't know how you made it through, what you made it through. And you can say, if it had not been for the Lord that was on your side, come on somebody, how many can testify that Christ would draw close in the midst of your crisis? But what I love is this, Eric Kim, it didn't just say that he drew near, but the rest of the verse says, and he went with him. Watch this now. Praise God, ever tell you. Look at this. Right, this is a moment in time where they had a crisis. And in the midst of the crisis, Christ came close. But he didn't just come close for a moment. He was willing to take the journey with him. Right? And family, I want you to understand, some folks may just come into your life, Sister Bree, for a season. Right? But Jesus, he'll come close. And when he comes close, he's willing to walk with you. He's willing to walk with you through good times. He's willing to walk with you through bad times. He's willing to walk with you through successes. He's willing to walk with you through failures. He's willing to walk with you through the bankruptcy. He's willing to walk with you through the divorce. He's willing to walk with you through the abortion. Come on, somebody. He's willing to walk with you, my God, when you got laid off your job. He's willing to walk with you in the midst of your sickness. He's willing to walk with you in the midst of your darkness. He's willing to walk with you in the midst of your struggle. Come on, somebody. He's willing to walk with you, my God, when everybody else leaves you. He's willing to walk with you. Come on now. The Bible said when your mother and your father would forsake you. The Bible said that God would take you up. I wonder, is there anybody in the house of God today that can testify that the about 10 more minutes. But what's powerful to me, Pastor Ricky, is he shows up. He comes close in crisis. He walks with them, but they still don't know him. I wonder how many people have been going to church for years. I wonder how many people have been walking with him for years, and they still don't know him. See, it's possible to walk with him and not know him if all you know is church, and all you know is the rituals and the routines of religion, but you never establish a genuine relationship. Family, as much as we want you to be in the house of God on Sunday mornings because we gain strength from each other, as much as we want to cease not to assemble ourselves together, let me tell you something. If this is the only interaction you have with Christ, you could be walking with him, but you still don't know him. You can know of him and still not know him. Or you don't believe it. How many people know who LeBron James is? Okay, about 80 of y'all lying. Who knows who Oprah is? Who knows who Barack Obama is? Okay. Who can call any of those people right now? I'm saying it's a lion spirit up in this church. Look at this. We know who they are. We know of them, but we don't really know them. Right? And the next level is not just to know him, but this is what Jesus said in Matthew chapter number 7. He said there was going to be a group of people where he would say this to them. He would say, "Depart from me, you workers of iniquity." Watch this. "For I never knew you." Right, so it's one thing, right? So what happens is like, for example, what's a famous person I've met before? I met T.D. Jakes before, right? I met Vic before, but we're not talking about that kind of famous. Right, I met T.D. Jakes before. Right, so in my mind, I know him. I know Mr. Jakes. But that ain't what Jesus said. He said, "Depart from me, for I never knew you." Right, so they walked with him. They didn't even know him. But it ain't even enough just to know him. The question is, does he know you? And what that word "know" means in the original language, if you take it back to Genesis chapter number 2, it actually speaks to intimacy. Because when Adam and Eve came together to consummate their relationship, what the Bible says is the Bible said that Adam knew Eve. If you look it up in the original language, it speaks to intimacy. So really, when you know God, or you allow God to know you, what you allow God to do is impregnate you with purpose, impregnate you with destiny, impregnate you with his will. Right? You allow God to have access to the most intimate part of you. And there are many people who they want to walk with him, but they don't know him. Right? So what happens is I need my eyes to be open. I need my eyes to be open. 3 ways very quickly here. How were their eyes open? Number 1, their eyes were open during the walk. Somebody say walk. The more they walked with him, the more they began to know him. Right? The more they walked with him, the more they began to know him. Who's been saved? I know we got some people been saved a long time. Who's been saved 40 years in here? 40 years. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Praise God. They've been saved for 40 years. So, Elder Kim, when you were saved for 4 months, did you know him like you know him after 40 years? Right? It was progressive. Pastor Malone, when you were saved for 4 years, did you know him different than when you had been saved for 4 months? No? He was walking with it and still didn't know it. Right? So the more you walk with him, the better you know him. Right? Kelly and I, man, I put it on her. I put it on. I was 17, she was 18. I was in really good shape back then, right? I had a silver tongue. I pieced her up, Bishop, and she was just, you see she's not here today, praise God, right? Don't repeat none of this, all right? I had her eating out of my hand, Sister Dree, right? I pieced her up. She could not resist the revelation that I was placing upon her. She couldn't resist it, right? And I was telling her, baby, I love you. Baby, you're incredible. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. You are the one, right? You're the apple of my eye, the beat of my heart, my sunshine on a cloudy day. Come on, man, you the sugar in my Kool-Aid, the jam in my donut, girl. You the one for me, right? That was after two months I was saying that. Yeah, I didn't release that to the fellas. The fellas didn't know that. I've been with Kelly now, not for just 2 months, but for 23 years. Right? And Kelly just texted me because it's a challenging time in our life, right? We got teenage kids, we in 1,000 different directions. Man, we got ups and downs, struggles, man, we pursuing purpose, destiny. It ain't always gonna be easy. And she texted me this morning. I'm just gonna let y'all know, I ain't gonna tell you everything she texted me. I need to mind y'all's business, but I ain't gonna let you in on this part. She said, I'd rather be with you and it be hard than to not be with you and it be easy. That'll make you shout right there, boy. Right, and what she's speaking to is she's speaking to 23 years, right? We've been through high times, incredibly blessed times, and we've been through some low times. We've been through some successes and some failures. And she's saying, hey, it don't matter. I'm walking with you. Right? And I've learned more about my wife, not in our times of success, but I've learned more about her in our times of struggle. Right? I remember it was in 2006, my father was in the hospital. It was a record snow in the city of Columbus. It was literally like 22 inches snow in one day. We used to have a driveway that went from this door to about that door, maybe longer. My father was in a coma in the hospital. I had been in the hospital for a week. I didn't have to change of clothes, nothing. This snowstorm comes. That's how long our driveway is. All of a sudden, my wife sends me a text and said, hey, I'm coming to see you. I was like, oh, nah, babe, just stay where you at. Like, it's crazy out there. You shouldn't be on the road. It's level 3 emergency. She said, no, I'm coming to see you. Right? She drives all the way from Canal, Winchester, all the way up to OSU Main Hospital. 22, 23 inches of snow. When she got there, I was like, babe, you got to explain something to me. I said, how in the world did you get out the driveway? She said, I showed it. And she showed me a picture on the phone of 22 inches worth cleared out. And she said this, because I had to get to you. Baby, let me tell you something. If my wife is as amazing as she is, in my time of crisis, in my time of heartache, will go through all of that to get to me, then my God, what will the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords go through to get to you in your time of need, in your time of crisis? Family, I want you to understand something. God loves you, and God wants to assist you in your times of heartache, in your times of pain. God wants to open your eyes, not just in times of blessing, but in times of breaking. God wants to reveal himself to you, not just in times, my God, of success, but God wants to be there with you even in the times of failure. I dare somebody to put your hands together and give God glory, because God will walk with you. Watch this. Very quickly now. Not only did he walk with them, but he began to expound his word to them. And what he said was, he said, y'all got this thing twisted. He said, y'all didn't pay attention to what Moses and the prophets were saying about the Messiah. He said it was destined walking. And the Bible said that they constrained him and said, no, come abide with us. Right? So he'll walk with you. He'll expound his word to you, but it still is your welcome into your intimate space that's going to open your eyes to who he really is. Family, are you the type of Christian that takes him home with you? Let me ask that again. Are you the type of believer that takes him home with you? Right? Pretty much everybody brings him to church with them. Right? But do you pack him up in your little Sunday space and put him on the shelf until next Sunday? Or are you like those two disciples who said, no, you can't leave us. You can't. I need you to come on home with me, right? I need you to come home with me, and I need you to invade my most intimate space. Right? I don't want to be somebody who is just a follower in public, but I want you to come into my private space. I want you to come into my intimate space. I want you to come to the part of my life that can't nobody see. I want to be Christ-like when ain't nobody looking. Come on now, I want to be Christ-like more than just on social media. Come on now, if your walk is only Instagram and Facebook worthy, then baby, let me tell you something. You're walking, but you don't know it. But is there anybody in the house of God today that is like David, who said, as the deer pants after the water brook, it is my soul that is thirsty after God? If that's you, one last time, put your hands together. Lift up your voice and give God glory. Because God is trying to get you to a point where your eyes are wide open. I see him not just in the light, but I can see him in the darkness. I see him not just in times of peace, but I see him in the storm. I see him not just in the midst of my strength, but I see him in my weakness. I see him not just in the midst of my blessing, but I see him in my brokenness. I see him not just in good times, but I see him bad. I want to see the whole story. Family, if that's you today, and you want a fresh revelation of the Lord, you want to see him in a greater way, in a greater dimension. The Bible said that we shift like this, from faith to faith, from strength to strength, and from glory to glory. And there's somebody who may need a deeper and more intimate relationship with him today. Family, if that's you, I want you to come.